The Pistons at the All-Star break officially had the best record in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
For the first time, I believe, since 2008. We were one game ahead of the OKC in the loss column. We officially had a 755 win percentage while they had a 750 win percentage. They, of course, shockingly lost to the shorthanded Milwaukee Bucks just before the All-Star break. I'm not really here to discuss the Pistons record. I want to talk about our GM. When the Pistons made the Kevin Huerter deal, one of the questions I asked on this show, does the front office believe that we can win a championship?
Right. Yeah, he did.
Teams that believe they can win a championship at the trade deadline are either attempting to get better or they're doing nothing. They are not making salary cap dumps. That being said, Trajan Langdon did an interview on our local sports station about a week ago, and he was asked explicitly by the host, do you guys feel like you're good enough to win the NBA title as you're currently constructed? His answer, I'm quoting, I don't even know, really. We haven't even won a playoff game at home. So I'm just not going to talk about NBA championships when we haven't won a playoff game yet, unquote. Are you surprised to hear a GM talk about a team that currently sits atop their conference and division like that, or do you believe that he's just being measured, attempting to underpromise and overdeliver? What say the people's champ?
Well, if we're being positive, you can say that. But I think coming from the guy that says the future is now, it to me, it just rings as a guy that the long way saying he doesn't feel that they can win this year.
Right.
He just doesn't want to just flat out say no.
Right.
Especially with the team being where it's at in the standings. You're selling out again. So, you definitely don't want to temper with that at all.
Right.
But yeah, because if you feel that the team can win a championship, you know it. You say, yeah.
Right.
And I can't really, and to your earlier point about the under promising and over delivering, strategically in terms of PR, I get it.
Right.
His points are absolutely valid. We don't know what this team looks like yet in the playoffs as constructed now. We haven't won a home playoff game yet with this team as constructed. So, I get that. It's like, I can't say he's wrong for that. But when you're confident, you're like, you know what, that being said, I feel that this crew can do it. He didn't say that.
Right.
So, I just think he was just politely saying, it's great that we're winning. It's great that we're winning in the volume that we're winning. But he, I guess, for at least from his perspective, he's not going to get too far ahead of his skis and say that they're a championship team this year.
Yeah. I found it terribly discouraging to hear. I'm always of the opinion that confidence within the building should be measured but exuberant. You don't really know if the roster with the best record in the NBA is good enough to win the NBA title. What's it going to take to convince you then? I guess he answered the question as if they were clinging to a play-in spot. If I was a Pistons player, I guess, listening to my GM talk about my first place team like that, he sounded like the Sacramento Kings GM would sound. I don't know. I don't know if you heard the interview. I
read it. I didn't hear it. I couldn't pick up on tone or anything like that. I just
sounded like he was being held hostage.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's Trajan Langdon, though. He's never really been the most.
That's true. I guess that's
jovial guy.
His affect is a little flat. So, but also philosophically, success begins with belief. I don't think you can achieve any goal without vision, planning, execution, consistency, and that all begins with belief that it's possible.
Right.
And that also explained to me, it didn't explain, I think it made more clear to me why they turned down Jalen Duren's rookie extension. Because he's unsure about the talent on the team and their ability to develop and win. I'm not impressed by people who fancy themselves difficult to convince, though. No matter what you achieve, they're always looking for you to do just a little bit more. And don't misunderstand me. I do believe that constant improvement is necessary in a competitive environment. However, that's different than being contrary, malcontent, fault-finding, and intentionally impossible to please.
Yeah. But I think to that point, you got to look at how he cut his teeth, too. You know, you go all the way back, you go to Coach K, and then once he got out of basketball, you know, Popovich is one of those guys. You know, he's going to break you before he builds you up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, I mean, maybe that's part of his mantra or his philosophy in terms of, you know, what he wants to, you know, put into this team philosophically. Maybe he doesn't want them to feel like they're, maybe they fall victim to their press clippings. Like, you know, like we're good, but we ain't won shit yet.
Yeah, I
got it. I mean, I kind of understand that, but to your point, I would like to hear him say, yes, he thinks we're the best team in the NBA.
Right. I mean, it's certainly the best team in the conference, you know, like, because we've exhibited that. I mean, we've annihilated the second best team in the conference by an average of 34 points when we've been at the rest deficit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there are certain facts and factors that
I just think that
you can use.
I think maybe he could just be rigid.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I
don't agree with it. You know what I mean? I'm
like,
just more so just trying to, you know, take a tour in his brain per se. But maybe like when I think about it again, like Krzyzewski, Popovich, those guys are real. They can be real anal.
Yeah.
You know, at times.
And then I'm also just thinking about the kind of decision making that has been there. You know what I'm saying? Like
they're making moves like a pelican.
Correct. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Because when I looked at that Kevin Huerter deal, I'm like, you doing salary dumps when we at the top of the conference? You not giving JD his rookie extension, which is now going to cost us money. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that,
right?
That type of stuff. You know, like So like on the one hand, maybe you're right. Maybe he's just posturing for the, you know, because he's in public and he doesn't want to say too much. But at the same time, you know, there are some moves that correlate with that statement.
Yeah.
You know, there's some correlation with the statement when you see him holding back. Like, and I am reminded that, you know, he didn't draft these guys.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these are Troy Weaver's guys.
The Dream Weaver.
Yeah. And, you know, and we, you know, we say what you want about Troy Weaver. You know,
he did draft Killian Hayes.
Yes, he did. And for that, he will never, ever get quarter over here. But he also drafted Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, Asur Thompson, and he brought in Tobias Harris, even though he didn't get to complete that deal because he got fired. But he's responsible basically for the bulk of the rotation. The 3 draft picks that Trajan Langdon has made are Bobby Clintman, Chaz Lanier, and your favorite player, man, Ron Holland.
Hey, man, listen, Ron's growing on. I'll tell you what, I miss Ron at the brawl down in Charlotte. I tell you that.
But he also he hired JB Bickerstaff, which accounts for a lot. But I don't know, man. That my antennas perked up. Let me just say that my antennas perked up. I don't want to criticize Trajan Langdon too harshly. But I gotta be intellectually honest and say I didn't really care for his tone. I didn't care for that interview. I didn't care for that answer. I think that when your team
didn't like none of it.
No, when your team is number 1 in the conference and they've annihilated the second best team in the conference by an average of 34 points when they've been at the rest deficit both times, I think they've earned at least a vote of confidence in public. You know, for them to get no vote of confidence, I didn't really care for that. But, you know, I'll leave that there. I'll leave that there.